I am from Brazil, and I've seen a lot of things in this short 21 years of my life. But one time I was walking a trail with a friend. We started very late, like around midnight, and finished around 1 in the morning near a residential area with an old church and cow pastures. My friend needed to deliver to a woman he knew some pots and pans that she had borrowed, so we could make food and sweets for the feast of São João, a Catholic holiday. On the way back home, we needed to walk a long dirt road, which was separated from the pastures by a fence and trees back to back, start to end of the road. We carried flashlights, but the night was very bright due to the road being very wide and open. Midway through the long road, we started to hear some rumbling on the fence side behind the trees. I said that probably was a dog, and my friend also believed that. The sound got closer little by little the further we walked, and my friend stated that was a very big dog. We kept walking until the noise was right behind our necks. With that ominous presence, I took a piece of wood that we carried in case we were attacked by dogs or something on the trails, and asked my friend to shine the flashlight on the fence, and that was when I see it. A big skinny figure standing up in his 2 hind legs. His arms were so long they touched the ground like a fucking gorilla, leaning back and hiding his true height. Looking me in the eyes with his crooked spine, it looked like a terminal anorexic bull with a deformed face, without horns but with neck hair, like a fake mane, and moonlight grey skin and shiny eyes. This 1 second looked like an eternity. Suddenly the light went out, and when I looked, my friend was running and shouting, telling me to do the same. I ran like I never needed to run before with that thing running beside me on the other side of the trees. When we reached the end of the road, we were graced by the statue of Our Lady Fatima standing still in his shrine, and the thing had vanished in the fields. I asked him if he had seen it, and he said no, and that he ran in fear. For so long I thought it was a werewolf, but it was so different from anything I have ever heard of, and I truly don't know what that was, but it still visits me in my dreams, lurking in the corners of my eye. When I was in my early 20s, I used to jog through a massive cemetery called Hillside, just outside Philly, when I came home from Temple U to visit my mum. I loved jogging through there because it was so quiet and peaceful, aside from the sounds of nature. One very late afternoon, dusk, I was jogging through the main part of the cemetery and started to move along a small service road deeper in the cemetery about half a mile long that connects to another cemetery in an adjacent town called Ardsley Cemetery. There are roughly 100 yards of uncut grass and weeds on both sides of the little road that lead to a dense forests, with one side, on the left, leading to fenced-off railroad tracks surrounded by trees that ran through the area. As I approached midpoint, I noticed a teenish girl sitting on a log to the left that must have been dragged out somehow close to the road after falling in the woods. She was distinctly wearing 70s clothes, a retro fad in early 90s, with massive bell bottoms, scruffy white blouse, greasy sandy blonde hair, parted in the middle, and leather sandals. She did not face me as I approached, and just kept her head facing the dark woods across the other side of the road. But I know she must have heard me hitting the pavement as I approached, so now we are the only people on this old little service road, with no one in front or behind, as I pass between the 2 cemeteries. As I approached her and crossed her line of sight, she quickly shifted her eyes toward me as I said hi, and I was shocked, stunned, blasted by the weirdness of her face with the larger-than-normal eyes, a tiny nose, thin small mouth, and whiteness of her skin. And her eyes, they were white-blue, like a Siberian husky, with massive dark rings, at least 2, around the irises. She said nothing back and just stared at me as I stumbled past. I say stumbled because I immediately felt this force hit my perception when we locked eyes, which made everything super detailed, like when you're tripping, and surreal. I could no longer hear the sound of my own shoes hitting the pavement anymore for those endless seconds, deafness, no sounds, not even the crickets, and time seemed to slow down as if I was jogging in slow motion. Disoriented as I was, I continued along the road toward the other cemetery for about 5 to 7 seconds, and my curiosity got the better of me, so I turned around to jog back, but she was completely gone. Nothing there but this huge dead log. I checked all around it. Now I know the area quite well, and there is absolutely no way she could have left my new line of sight unless she sprinted the 100 yards to the woods in less than 7 seconds. Impossible. Especially in her clothes. I scanned the tree lines and nothing. Just darkening woods as the sun fell below the tree line. It gives me the chills every time I think about that face and those piercing eyes. Suffice to say, I never felt the urge to jog through there again. So here's some background info. I'm a 14-year-old female. I am very, very small. Since I'm barely 5 foot and 100 pounds, I look younger than I really am. This occurred a month ago while I was moving. So after the moving truck was loaded, I fell asleep in it. Now flash forward an hour or two later. I am now in a town near my new home. My grandmother is parked in a Burger King parking lot, and I'm still asleep. So my 19-year-old cousin, let's call her Max, came to the passenger door and woke me up to help carry the food. I agreed. So we're now in the Burger King, and she's ordering, so I tapped her arm and informed I was going to use the restroom. As I exited the restrooms, I noticed an older man about mid-50s, maybe early 60s, staring at Max and then at me. I pay no mind to it since I'm still very groggy. I walked after Max as she tried to get some soda from this new machine. Finally, after a while, she got the soda, and we exited the Burger King. Now as I'm sitting in the moving truck sipping on my chocolate milkshake, I see this guy walking towards the truck and he exclaims, "I know who you are," and stops at the driver's side, where my grandmother was. She looked rather confused and replied, "Who am I?" And he says with the same exact tone, "The woman of God," and starts rambling about taking care of us girls, all the while I'm terrified. Ideas flashing through my mind of creepy things I've read here on Reddit. Then suddenly he points at me with a dead serious expression and says, "You're a pain in the arse." I am now more confused and scared out of my mind. Then I just laugh awkwardly and mumble, "Sometimes." So he continues rambling until I hear Max calling me, telling me I left my fries in the bag. But I already had my fries. I went over to ask her what she meant, but she changed the topic to the guy. After 5 minutes, we both agree. He's giving off creepy vibes. My grandmother, however, calls my name to inform we're leaving. The old man's car was blocking our path at the time, so he hopped in. Before he moved out of our way, he did the "I'm watching you" motion, and literally mouthed the words, "I'm watching you." Now this is when I grabbed the phone and called Max, telling her to make sure he didn't follow us. Luckily, he didn't. It just creeps me out to think he watched us order our food and get out drinks. So, creepy Burger King creeper, let's not meet again.